Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's been quite a long time, actually. It's been more than a month, I think. It's been a month and a half, I guess. I actually don't remember, but a lot has changed. Why, you may ask? Well, I've been moving, I moved houses. That's it. And the background changed also, too. There's the plaque from my other channel. There's the, lights from my other channel. This is all the setup for my other channel. I don't know what to do with this one. So I don't know what kind of set I want, but I will decide that some other day, in a week, in a month, again. I don't know. The thing is, I'm back and we're gonna be talking about the case of the Catman. Actually, the Argentinian Catman. So it's from here. It's a man that thinks it's a cat. Actually, there's discussion about that. So we're gonna get into the case so you can, discuss with me. So today we have the case of Gilad Nicolás Sarusi Perec, better known as the Catman or El Hombre Gato in Spanish. This case was solved very recently by the Justice of Mendoza, Argentina, and it's about a very strange and peculiar man. This is Gilad Sarusi Perec. He was born in Israel in 1983. When we look up cases where the protagonist is the murderer, I like to tell you some facts about their childhood as a way to have a better context of their lives and understand why they committed these crimes. However, there's not much information about Gilad's past. We only know that in the year 2007, at age 24, after graduating from university for electronic engineering, he moved to Argentina in South America to a town called Guaymallén in the province of Mendoza. Guaymallén is actually the name of an alfajor here. So an alfajor is this, right? Like this thing, sweet thing. I don't know how to call it. Really, it's a pastry kind of thing, but it's not, you get the idea. So basically the town is called like an alfajor, or actually the pastry is called like a town. But I like to think about it the other way around. It's more fun that way. So this guy became known as Nicolás among his neighbors. The neighborhood knew little to nothing about this man, besides the fact that he was an ex-military for the Israeli army and that he had been in combat. People who know him describe him as a very weird person, capable of doing absolutely anything, especially if there's money involved. In January of 2019, his mother, Piria Sarusi, age 63, and Lily Perec, age 54, Piria's sister and Perec's aunt, traveled to Argentina to visit him. His mother worked for a collecting entity in Israel, and his aunt was a microbiology professor at the University of New England in Australia, where she lived since the 1990s. Both women arrived on Friday the 11th on January to Argentina. And around 2:30 in the morning was their last contact with their family in Israel. 2 days later, on Monday the 14th, Perec reported to the police of Guaymallén his mother and aunt were missing. But before doing so, he shaved his beard and long hair full of dreadlocks, which according to him, he maintained these dreadlocks using concrete and mud. Perec later said he did it because his aunt didn't like his long hair and his mother had asked him to do it. The Catman told the police he had spent all Saturday with both women and that he had accompanied them to take the bus back to the apartment they were staying in. According to Perec, they made plans to hang out again the next day, but the women never showed up. The following days after the case became known to the rest of the country, Perec told the news media that maybe someone from Israel might have gone for them to hurt them. Or maybe it's someone from here who hates me, who hurt them to get revenge on me. However, Perec wasn't considered a suspect until things started to change. On January 18th, the prosecutor in charge of the case, Claudia Rios, ordered a raid on his house. At Perec's house, the cops found 3 million pesos, all of these in dollar and euro bills. So actually, just so you know, 3 million pesos, it's like $30,000. So, just so you know. Also, they found 4 guns, which he had registered under his name. According to the ANMAC, the National Agency for Controlled Materials, Perec had a license to operate almost 40 different types of guns and weapons. His house did not have rooms or any furniture. It only had a mattress thrown on the ground, which was made just of soil. Scattered on the ground, there was trash, porn magazines, and cat food for 36 cats he lived with, as well as the dietary supplements Perec only fed himself with. On his property, there were 6 football and tennis fields under construction, and in the garden, there were dogs chained to the wall and at least 10 dead cats dissecting under the sun. The house didn't have water nor any other services, but the place was surrounded with an electric fence and had many security cameras. These cameras were the key for the investigation because they filmed the moment when the 2 sisters walked to Perec's house that Saturday. However, the video of the women walking out of the house was never recovered because the cables were cut that very same day. Inside the house, the cops found a shirt and a bag of cement with stains that, according to forensics, were blood stains from one of the women. With the DNA evidence, on January 25th, the cops arrested the Catman and his home was raided once more, this time with dogs and a backhoe. Hours later, on January the 26th, the bodies of the victims were found in a 2-meter deep hole covered with soil and rocks. The forensic corpse assured the Catman's mother was shot 3 times. Meanwhile, his aunt was beaten and strangled with a lasso to death, and she had wounds from trying to defend herself from the attack. The forensics discovered that after both women were dead, they were stabbed all the way through with iron bars. Perec was sent to the penitentiary of San Felipe under the charges of homicide. Once inside the penitentiary, he began acting in a very strange way. The other prisoners and witnesses assured that Perec began behaving like a cat and pooped on the floor. They said he didn't shower and instead licked his body, and that he even walked on 4 legs in his cell. Perec told his lawyers that he was attacked twice, but he was okay and only wanted to see his cats, and he even threatened to kill himself if he couldn't feed them. One of Perec's lawyers, Maximiliano Legrand, said that he's a weird man who only seems to care about cats. He even acts like one. He just has to start saying meow, like meowing. We don't know if there's a plan to kill him, but the incident happened. Perec declared to his lawyers and said, "People are the worst. I would like to live far away from everyone. I wouldn't have any contact with people, just with animals. Animals understand me and I understand them. We're the same." Okay, big words. Big, Okay. Due to this strange behavior and the declarations from both the prisoners and his lawyers, Perec got the nickname of the Catman, or El Hombre Gato, kind of like Batman, but, a little bit more insane. The penitentiary's sanitary staff recorded the Catman sitting naked on his bed while he meowed at them. He even tried to scratch one of the men. So I'll leave the video here just so you can see what we're talking about.
Perec, tenemos que hacer control sanitario. ¿Tiene ropa? ¿No tiene ropa? Perec, control sanitario.
On the 26th of October of 2021, so this year, the first oral trial against the Catman began. The trial was transmitted on YouTube and was translated to English for the family of the victims watching from Israel and Australia. Perec's lawyers had requested non-binary people among the judges to make it equitative, but it was denied. The Catman was only in the room for 4 minutes and he didn't stop meowing at any second. He was warned to stop so the trial could begin, but the Catman kept meowing until he was taken out of the court by 2 policemen. Despite this behavior, 2 psychiatrists, a doctor, and a psychologist declared against the Catman, saying he was fully conscious of his actions and that he was aware of reality. The Catman's lawyers, on the other hand, tried to show he was not prosecutable due to his psychiatric condition, thinking he's a cat. The doctors declared in Pereg's favor that he suffered from hallucinations and he had lycanthropy, which means he perceives himself as an animal. You can imagine, I guess, which one. These mental conditions made him incapable of being aware of his actions, according to his lawyers. The lawyers also brought to the judges an audio where you could hear the Catman crying desperately, warning that a Mr. Marcos told him to not kill himself, and that this man protected him from the attacks of the guris, which are disgusting monsters that try to devour him at night. Here's another video, by the way.
Entonces, si esa es una de esas que yo necesito compañía, porque yo no puedo estar solo. Pues nadie no puede estar solo 24 horas, todo el día, todo el año. Y necesito estar con compañía de criaturas como soy yo, que yo no soy una persona, yo soy un gato. Yo necesito compañía con gatos y no con personas porque yo soy un gato.
Finally, on November the 3rd of 2021, the judges in less than 3 hours of debate declared him guilty by unanimity, and the judge, Maria Laura Guajardo, sentenced the Catman to a lifetime imprisonment for the murder of his mother and aunt. Before being condemned, Pereg said the following words: "I can hear my mother talking in my head. She's saying she's been kept in a very dark place. It's not true she died. I never saw a picture or anything. They raided my home and found nothing. And just by coincidence, they found the bodies they put in there themselves. They did all of this to accuse me of something I didn't do." After the sentence was dictated and the Catman was sent to jail, the Justice of Mendoza authorized the media to reveal information that was asked not to be published in 2019, so they didn't hinder the investigation. Thanks to this, the journalist for Telam, Fabio Roa, could share a very strange situation that happened to him at Pereg's house and that, according to himself, escaped by a miracle. On January the 24th of 2019, the journalist interviewed the Catman in his house in Guaymallén. This journalist said to the media that he went to Pereg's house along with his photographer with the idea to go to a bar to do the interview, but Pereg insisted and invited them into his home. Once they were in, Pereg confessed to the journalist that the neighborhood wasn't safe, that he had many problems with people in that area, and he insisted his mother and aunt were kidnapped, despite the investigation being treated as a missing person case and not a kidnap. After the interview was done, the photographer took a few photos of the Catman, one of which you're watching on the screen right now. Is this one. Here you can see the Catman recently shaved, sitting in front of a construction behind a pile of soil and bricks. In that very same place, just 48 hours after the photo was taken, the bodies of his mother and aunt were found, which means that at the moment the photo was taken, the bodies were under that pile of rocks. But things don't end there. The journalist said that when they tried to leave the house, Pereg didn't open the door because it was stuck due to the heat expanding the metal of the door. What happened after that was terrifying. The journalist said the following: "A few seconds later, while I was trying to figure a way out of that situation, I heard voices and shouts in a language I didn't know, and slams on the door. I realized some words were in Hebrew and others in English. Whoever was shouting was mad at Pereg. They even accused him of the disappearance of his family members." At that moment, the journalist recalls that the Catman, looking very nervous and angry, asked him to call the police. The journalist asked him who these people were and why they were shouting and slamming his door. The Catman told him it was his uncle Moshe, his mother and aunt's brother. The Catman said his uncle had apparently talked to his grandfather, who had died 15 years ago. Amongst the screaming and slamming, the police finally arrived at the house. The journalist and the photographer spent almost 2 hours locked in the Catman's house until they showed up. The day after the interview, Pereg was arrested, and only 48 hours after that, on that very same place they took the photographs, they found the bodies of both women. Nowadays, the Catman is in jail at the penitentiary of San Felipe, sentenced to a lifetime imprisonment. And that is actually the end of the story. That's everything that happened. This is the Catman tale, I guess. It's a weird one. You saw the videos. It's weird. Yeah. Okay. So that guy lived here, you know? Not where I live particularly, but like, you know, Close enough, actually. So tell me your thoughts, everything, whatever you wanna, comment, just do it below. I will be reading all of your comments. And that's about it. If you want more Latin American cases, you can ask for them. I have a lot, actually. But yeah, that's it. So I'll see you in my next video, and goodbye.